Vilken inspiratör han är, Fergus Garrett. Men det räcker inte alltid med bra argument. Man måste uppfylla och helst också överträffa besökarnas förväntningar. Och man vill naturligtvis nå ut också till flera. Och hur ska man nå ut med det budskapet? Ja, men det handlar om strategier, om marknadsplaner, affärsplaner och utvecklingsplaner. Det handlar helt enkelt om vad man vill uppnå och en strategi för hur det ska gå till.
So let's now talk about the planning process associated with gardens. I've mentioned the brand strategy, from which you then move on to the marketing strategy, and then at a tactical level, the marketing plan, and the audience development plan. Who do you want to come? To what audience are you relating? How are you going to talk to them? How are you going to convince them to come? Why should they come? Are they going to be made welcome? So hopefully you then arrive at a visitor number, and from those visitors, you have an access and infrastructure plan. Can you actually accommodate them? Most gardens have a capacity issue, not only infrastructure, but in terms of maintaining the spirit of the place. You don't come to a garden just to see other people. You'd actually like to experience the garden. But often you can achieve that not by more infrastructure, but by getting people to come in the spring and the autumn or during the week. And then the commercial strategies, not just the shop and the cafe, but also events. And hopefully to deliver a viable business plan. And then from that viable business plan to include money for investment and development, because gardens are growing things, they change, and you need to invest in them, but also you need to invest in continuing quality and excellence, because each year the visitors will demand more. And that in turn will deliver more visitors and a more viable business plan. But gardens are not Disney World. It is absolutely essential to create the balance between the qualitative objectives and the commercial objectives, to retain the spirit of the place. But it is possible, and it is absolutely necessary. Even the most prestigious sites need a viable business plan and need commercial revenues. Here we have Windsor Castle in the UK, and here is a food fair I helped put on for the Queen to generate revenue. It also promoted local produce. So I'm afraid many gardens do not have a business plan. They're afraid of it. They're afraid of what it will tell them, or they don't know how to do it. And most gardens do not have a viable business plan. And I'm afraid the old era of subsidies to get people out of trouble, they've gone. So you need a viable business plan. An example in the UK, this is the National Botanic Garden of Wales. It cost £44 million, and when it opened, they were losing £1.5 million. And yet in the previous 4 years, they'd had 4 business plans, different ones. What it meant was they didn't have a business plan at all.
En av de mest framgångsrika trädgårdarna i världen är Kew Gardens utanför London. Lätt att ta sig till om man ändå besöker den engelska huvudstaden. Här finns underbara parker, ett gigantiskt växthus och fantastiska botaniska historier. Trots det så sjönk antalet besökare. David Jord, han kan berätta om hur de tänkte för att vända den negativa trenden.
Around the year 2000, we were looking at declining visitor figures, and the trustees wanted to turn this around and kind of aggressively start to push the gardens. And the concept that came forward was a marketing one. We need to be promoting Kew more, but to support that, we need to really give a reason to visit the gardens now, rather than in 10 years' time. And to do that, we put together a festival strategy. Now, a festival is what we call it's kind of an event. They can be quite long running, but they're free once you're in the gardens. They're not an extra ticket. And we divide these into 2 kind of things. So the ones on the left, the seasonal festivals, they were particularly, they're shorter running, but they're particularly designed to make use of what's in the gardens at that time of year and to push people in. So to give you a couple of examples, the Orchid Festival. Here's an example of one of the displays. The Orchid Festival has happened traditionally every February. It lasts for a month. It's an incredibly colourful and beautiful tropical display. It's in one of our large glass houses, so it links into what people already know about Kew. And February in the gardens, of course, traditionally it's been a quieter time of year. The weather's not always that good. But this has seen visitors of 80,000 plus coming to Kew in the month of February. So it's been a real success on that basis. To keep it fresh, we try and theme it differently every year. The coming year, next year, I think will be fantastic. We have got a special display on carnivorous plants that I think will be brilliant for our family market. I like the concept of feeding time at Kew, would be quite good. And another quick example is spring. Obviously, spring is a beautiful time at Kew. We've had a massive planting. We have over 5 million bulbs now that bring brilliant colour through spring. And that's the time of year when people are thinking of getting out and seeing gardens again. And we want to be there, sort of in their faces, saying Kew is the place to come at spring. The bulbs, of course, will bring along kind of, I guess, our more traditional visitor that we touched upon. But we also use spring to bring in our family market. So in support of the bulbs, we have a family festival over Easter and the holidays, and we bring in animals. We have an animal farm, for example. And these have been really successful. And I suppose I'd like to use this to suggest you don't necessarily have to do something big and enormously expensive to be successful. One of the things we did last year was we found a giant rabbit sanctuary. I don't know if you've seen giant rabbits, but they're about half the size of a human being. They're enormous. And they came along, and we used that as the key promotion for the Easter holidays, and we had people flocking in. We had queues of children wanting to see these giant rabbits, and people would travel 2 or 3 hours to see these giant rabbits, which is amazing. It took us by... So the giant rabbits are back this year, and we'll see how they go. But it seems crazy, but it wasn't a complicated thing, and it's been quite successful. So I think laterally. Just going back, I mean, you can see through the seasonal festivals, they run through into autumn and Christmas. But what we tend to put most of our resource into, as you might expect, is the summer season. And we've come to the point where we try and define each year by a particular theme. And just looking down the list there, you can see a lot of the themes, we don't want to meander too far from this core Kew message. So you can see British biodiversity there. You can see colour and the colour of plants. I wanted to touch very briefly on listening to your audiences. In 2001, Kew decided that it was going to allow children up to the age of 16 in free, which again was quite a bold move and kind of an ethos move really rather than a commercial one. But we want to appeal to the family market. In research, it came through that just wasn't enough. We needed to do more. So a few years ago, we opened what you see here, which is our climbers and creepers children play area. And obviously, it's about fun, about coming and enjoying, but you'll notice that all of the kind of crazy-looking installations are plant-related. You can do amazing things like they've got these Venus flytraps that you can bring flies down into and snap, and you can walk over things with ants sort of carrying leaves. So it's brilliant for kids. And about 200,000 children use this every year. It's been a real success for us. And that backs up some of the stuff we've done with festivals. And as part of every festival, we have the giant rabbits, but we will also have children's trails. And so we've developed the whole product for the family market, and it's been a great success for us. And again, linking into some of the points that Alan made particularly, a spin-off of this is to try and encompass our family product. So it's more than just coming and seeing the festival. So alongside Climbers and Creepers, we now have a dedicated shop for families selling family items. The caterers now have family meals and children's meals. So if you come to Kew with your family, you get a complete product.